Have you guys ever wondered to yourself, does Scaramouche have a dong? Not a doorbell, the real dong. Have you ever woke up early in the morning, open up Genshin Impact just to do your commissions, and play Wanderer, your favorite character, and looked at him and ever thought, what a great character with an annoying and developed personality. I wonder what's in his pants. Well, I did. And now since you clicked this video, you will suffer with me too. If you guys don't know, Scaramouche or Wanderer is the 6th Harbinger of the Fatui, a major antagonist in the Sumeru arc as well as Raiden A's son. But he isn't any ordinary child because he was a puppet. This led people to believe he had more underneath his clothes. And you know, like every other sane person in the internet, I wondered that too in the longest time. Genshin Impact is many things. A great story, a fun exploration game, a waifu collection game, but it certainly isn't gonna tell you if your favorite character has a bazooka or a pocket under there. But don't worry, fellow orphans. For this entire video, we'll be spending our time to find out if our mommy issues 6 Harbinger bowl haircut looking at ever has a dog. He does. His model literally shows he's got a packer. You think this is fake? I opened Genshin to fact check this. I got a friend who has like Wanderer and I don't know, I think I sexually harassed him. Okay, I get this looks violating, but trust me, this was all for science. I am so sorry to Wanderer, I am so sorry. I also replicated this in Blender, so if you want unblurred photos and a more in-depth view of this, I put a Google Doc in the description for a more in-depth view for a shlong because I don't want to show it here in my channel. I don't want to be age restricted. You thought he'd be a Barbie doll? Wrong! His model is irrefutable evidences that he has it. Alright, thanks for watching. Wait. You might be screaming in the comments now, that can't be! Not everything in gameplay is canon lore! Well, you'd be surprised that everything in Genshin, yes, everything is canon to the lore. The mechanics, the ley lines, domains, and artifacts are somehow canon to the lore. Meaning, every single detail in the game can be canonically explained, and not just a game mechanic. So, would you think that they'd add this on purpose? But you are idiots! They're just using it as a base model. They wouldn't do that on purpose. Yes, but female characters don't have a bulge, and Genshin is the same people who designed Child's bigger bow. Trust me, you just need to search it. Just don't. I will never display this in my channel. No. Well, this is not an accident. Besides, it would be unfair to claim that he doesn't have it if his model shows this by default. This video is not meant to say what his gender is, no sir. I'm just interested if his mother would be taking her sweet time to model that while her eternity is at stake. But that brings us to a bigger question. Would his mother really give him a katana in the first place? Dear orphans, if you're interested, well, stick around and find out.
Fushiguro, you're acting like I dropped the soap in prison or something. I'll be fine.
Did you pray today?
Hey, Gojo-sensei.
Now, we established he has said sword. But you might be wondering, if he got that shlong, where could have he gotten it? Well, frankly, we don't have a definite answer for this. But it has have to come from somewhere, right? We only have 2 options. Either Raiden gave the Naginata or Dottore gave the saber. Pick your poison. We can't truly have a proper explanation because the first time we see Scaramouche is when he became Balladeer. So, which means he was already done by an experiment with Dottore. But would you believe me if I have some evidence that it is his mama that gave him what he has? Yes, you! Don't hide there! You're guilty as charged and I can prove why! Now, let's look at the evidences, shall we? First of all, our puppet boy has some sort of digestive system. We know this because he eats. His mom eats, so naturally, she would give at least some organs, even at least as a prototype. And the food just doesn't disappear out of nowhere. Sure, we can argue that perhaps his stomach has a portal that gets rid of this food, or has some magic that vaporizes it, or like every other argument, it's just a game. But I could counter that idea with 2 things. Genshin Impact doesn't also seem to shy away from the idea of pooping. Heck, even Nahida is familiar with the concept of Duke. I'm not saying she does take a dookie, or Scara does, but I'm just saying Scara could. Now, if we assume that this is true, this just proves that he has a back door, an area where he uses to remove out liquid and solid waste. It is a start, but it is not the answer. 2. He has human anatomy because he can drown. This doesn't prove that he breathes, but the act of drowning somehow affects some sort of system. So for the very least, water does affect him in some way, as opposed to some empty hollow doll. Doesn't prove if A would give him specifically a peen, but it does prove she gave him some sort of organ or machinery. 3. He was definitely made and described as male way before he has got his identity.
Wait, hold on. What happened to the music? Why did it stop? Why did the music stop? Coming. What?
Twitter headcanon police! In identity, he was originally male, according to Miku in the original translation. I'm not going to say he's male at the start, or I'm here to ruin your headcanon about Scaramouche. That is not my intention. But from original translation, we can see that A has always intended him to be male physically and in identity. While this does prove that he does intended to look kind of male, it doesn't prove that he has said male parts. As after all, this just shows that A just intended him to look like a male in identity. So let's keep going forward. Number 4. Raiden's story quest, aka blueprints for Scaramouche. While we have no explicit evidence that the puppets came from Khaenri'ah, we can assume that it came from there. For one, they did make a lot of automatons, and many of Fontanian tech was seen to be inspired by Khaenri'ah tech and Deshret tech. And Deshret tech doesn't look like it would have an obelisk sticking out, so Khaenri'ah it is.
Wait, Deshret technology can't have an obelisk. But Khaenri'ah tech can?
All for nothing at all.
Also, I kind of forgot about this, but Wanderer literally states this too. Bruh. Also, Gold was involved with the Primordial Human project and is proficient in the art of chemia, an alchemy used to create life primarily and used by Khaenri'ahs. While we can't directly prove that the same alchemy was used on Scaramouche, we can speculate that it's most likely because Scaramouche has a consciousness and he seems alive enough to have mommy trauma, so he has the same life.
Hold it low, okay? Like this? Like not any lower or any higher, like just here, just this high. Yeah, okay. What are you trying to do? How are you holding it so low? Not as low as your IQ.
Crack theory time. I think Scaramouche and Albedo is the same person. Whoa. Okay, what? You wanna know why? Have you even seen them in the same room? Wait, let me fix that statement. I think Scaramouche is a lesser version of Albedo. Or more specifically, I think puppet technique of Khaenri'ah is closer to a prototype version of the primordial humans of Khaenri'ah. This doesn't make sense for now, but let me cook. So far, the only differences between both techniques is that the puppets seem to be made out of white wood, and primordial humans are made out of chalk. Everything else, they seem to be functioning the same way. The same way. It feels like a huge speculation that Khaenri'ah and puppet technology preceded Gould's conception of the primordial human project, but there just seems to be a lot of evidences, albeit circumstantial, that the primordial human project came from the Khaenri'ah and puppet tech. I say evidences, but I'm mostly just hitting the apple in the dark. Now, we don't know why Gould started this primordial human project, but we do know this. Albedo is a homunculus, which is some sort of artificial human life born from a cell. In Albedo's case, he was born from chalk. Gould's purpose for Albedo was probably a test to create perfect humans, which I'm going out to say, yes, he has a shlong. Now, one thing that we know is that Albedo was made to create more superior humans. What kind of superiority is something we aren't certain, but Albedo's lines in his story quest Princeps Gratius implies Albedo was made to bypass human imperfection.
Those born of earth are bound by its imperfections, but those born of chalk are free of impurities.
What human imperfection, you may ask? Let's back up a bit and hold that thought. People speculate that the purpose of the primordial human project was to make humans as close as the primordial one. I don't know who started this theory, but they say this is true because the primordial human project has, well, primordial in the name. Very creative, guys. Let's entertain that this is the case. The primordial one is the descender, the first descender in Teyvat in fact. And for some reason, we have descenders that can hold or handle elements. And most likely the first descender, the primordial one, can do the same as well. Because this is Genshin Impact, it would be weird if the man who overthrew the elemental sovereigns didn't wield all the elements. Also, his symbols was literally used for all elements in TCG. People have often compared Albedo and Traveler, and rightly so. Both of them have many similarities. He literally compares himself to the Traveler, and the Traveler can hold all elements. Could it be possible that the Primordial Human project was made so that Albedo could manipulate elements on top of being human? Or at least, he could potentially do so. Another food for thought. What if the human error that the Primordial Human project and other similar projects wanted to bypass was the way of using elements without using a vision? After all, visions was the way Celestia controlled Teyvat and his order, and bearing a vision affects and locks your destiny in Teyvat forever. If this is the case, is it possible that the Primordial Human project was created for a similar reason? To create beings capable of wielding elements without the blessing and help of Celestia and the Seven. Maybe the puppets also had the same purpose. Scaramouche was seen being able to manipulate elements in his boss battle and had seal powers A-lock and Dottore unlocked, so it might be that this ability was an innate power to control elements. So they could be similar. Problem. You could say Scaramouche only had powers because of the Shokokami thingy, and he never really had the power to wield elements. And to that I say no. I only assume that he can passively wield elements when he gets attached to it, similar to how Anemo wields elements it touches. Surprise surprise, guess what his element is? Poetic, I'd say so myself. Also, the Shokokami thingy was also used to make him a god, so basically forbidden knowledge is used in his veins like steroids. It's basically just a god converting device, that's all. Also, he just seems a little too good with his powers when he hasn't been done yet with his godification, so at least he must have some prior experience to use it masterfully. Another thing you might say is
Scaramouche never used his powers when destroying clans, but just used the sword.
there was never a set time where the Dottore unlocked his abilities, so he might have not the abilities to control the elements at that time. Also, it's a little unrealistic to say that Scaramouche unlocked his abilities right after joining the Fatui, so this could be the case. Also, it just might be irony for Scara to use swordsmanship to kill them because, you know, their sword clan. What I'm saying here is that there's a chance the puppet technology was some sort of technology Khaenri'ah prepared to create more humans, and Gold must have seen this as a step or inspiration. Now, if this is a case, perhaps you could say that the puppets was used as a blueprint to the primordial humans, like a physical prototype to them. Not saying that Gold was the same creator, but I'm just saying that it was at least some sort of inspiration. Perhaps, just like what I said earlier, maybe the element manipulation was the powers that A sealed on Scaramouche. Maybe it wasn't really powers, but similar capabilities that primordial humans had. We don't exactly know what Khaenri'ah was using these puppets at the end of the day, but it might be possible that they were testing to see how humans would work. Their 5 senses, emotions, consciousness, and most of all, physical organs. Could be possible that one of these things that they tested was a reproductive shlong. And after all those evidences, after the conclusion we went to, if you aren't convinced, literally the game says that these puppets are literally made to look human, indistinguishable from it. Wouldn't that mean that these puppets would have almost no difference to actual humans? And if that's the case, that would mean Wanderer would have the same thing. Hold on. Indistinguishable from humans? What if the reason Khaenri'ah was taken down was they were making their own humans? I am not suggesting that Khaenri'ah went as far to make said boomstick the way it does, but I'm suggesting that it does exist in some capacity, at least externally, or it just doesn't function. If this is the case, that would mean that the Khaenri'ah blueprint A retrieved most likely has this in some capacity, assuming that she has the latest prototype of the blueprint, which is most likely. There's no reason that A wouldn't pick up the latest version of the puppet. So, in the blueprint, there would definitely be a in that case, like a programmer. Wouldn't he have everything built upon him, like following the blueprint word by word? And with this case, building upon primordial humans being some sort of better version of puppets in Khaenri'ah being used for some unknown reason, puppets having a third leg, and these puppets blueprints carrying to A, wouldn't A build one for Scara? If that's the case, therefore, I can confidently conclude that A gifted him with his very own Musu Ishin. But you can argue,
Could it be possible that she knew how to navigate Katheryne tech, reverse engineer it, and not just give him a penis?
okay, first of all, yes, that is a valid argument. It's possible A just skipped a step and just gave him the bare minimum to test Scara's gnosis handle capabilities. But counter argument, she did give him eyes, so if she just tested it for his gnosis handling capabilities, why go all the way to build that? But let's say that she did deliberately circumcise that part of the model. That doesn't change the fact that he has it now, so in this case, he did have it later. I just think with all the evidence pointing to A giving it, it's most likely that it is her. But if it's not, Dottore or another robotic guy did it by default. Second of all, would you think it's possible she added it because she could have? If there was a blueprint for it, I would most definitely added it just for the fun.
Haha, it's a baby with a square head. Goo goo gaga, Jack. What the fuck?
Now, the question y'all been waiting for. What could be the length of his musuation? Now, you might be tempted to click away, but aren't you dying to know how big he could be? No, I'm not. I just think this is funny. Okay, now we can't be certain how to know. And measuring his model isn't an accurate to do because for humans, Celestia blessed men with showers or growers, or none if you're unfortunate. But this is a puppet that we're talking about, so let's see. For this case, I would like to research what ideal length of swords each nation have. But because Genshin nations doesn't exist in real life, and I don't really want to ruin my history with that, so instead, what I did is I went for the average length of swords in each real-life counterpart of each nation. For example, Japan, Inuzuma's counterpart, has swords in the average of length of 13.56 centimeters. China has the average sword length of 13.07 centimeters. India has the average length of 13.71 centimeters. Iran has the average length of 11.95 centimeters. Egypt has the average length of 15.69 meters. Norway has the average length of 14.34 centimeters. Sweden has the average length of 15.08 centimeters. Denmark has the average of 14.88 centimeters. Now, also keep in mind, since Inazuma is based in Japan, specifically the Edo period, the Tokugawa Shogunate. What is a shogunate? A specific kind of art was popular called shunga for their time. This was a magical sense of art. But in modern time, in simple terms, it was just hentai. Now, what's special about this kind of worn is that while they were shown to be doing the deed and actually enjoyed by every class of the era, wow, horniness does make humans bond. There's two things I found that makes them very special. One, they aren't completely naked because nakedness isn't inherently erotic for them due to public bathrooms in their era. But two, their sword sheaths are exaggeratedly huge. Oh my god! In that case, I'm not saying that these are their idealized sizes. I'm just saying that it could be possible that Scaramouche has a cannon underneath there. But would you believe me that there's actually a way to know his cannon size? If you open up Blender and import his model, you can see that one of the tools here is called this measuring stick thingy. So you can go from one origin to another to measure how long it is by meters. Like for example, how long this vision is, how long Hat Guy's hat is, so we can measure his thingy and see how long it is. Of course, this only works if he's only a shower, not a goer, and it's not that we can't certainly say if it's that accurate, but it's all that we got. So I took this measure tool and measured it from top to bottom. And after all that measuring and from all that information from lengths, I can see that his height is 1.62862 meters, which is the true size of his sword because his entire existence is him being a dick.